Hey guys, welcome to Accounting Software Applications. This is Mr. Harris. I'm excited to have you enrolled in this course, and we're going to learn a whole lot about QuickBooks. Even if you know nothing about it, by the end of this course, you should have a pretty good understanding. It should be feel really comfortable working with the software and knowing how to navigate your way through the software. So this is the book that you want to make sure you get. Okay, this is what the cover looks like. If you click on the course syllabus link here, it's really important. It'll show you the ISBN for the book. And make sure you get the book that comes with 2 CDs. Okay, so one of the CDs is a 120 or 140 day trial for QuickBooks and for QuickBooks Accountant 2012, and that's the software that we are going to be using throughout the course. Okay, so make sure you get that one. There's also a second CD there that comes with some data files. Now these data files will have a different one for pretty much for most of the chapters, and let me show you what I'm talking about here. Okay, see all these different data files. Like for chapter 1, this is essentially like a fictitious company, and so you're going to have to follow the instructions in your book. If you pick up with chapter 1 and work your way through it, it gives you instructions on how to install the software and how to restore these data files here. And so you'll open this up, and this will be a fictitious company, and there's one for most of the chapters. Now notice how there's not one for chapter 8, chapter 10. And some of these chapters we're going to be creating a company from scratch, so there is no data file for some of those. Also, we're going to be working on some of the cases and some things like that. But so like I said, 2 CDs, one of them is the software and one of them is the data files. Okay, when you submit your work, you're going to need to go, and there's a link to take you to all of this. Okay, there's a link in the instructions. I don't remember. I think it's titled Chapter 1 Instructions, Welcome to Class, or Read This First, something like that. But there's some things I wrote out for you, and there's some links that'll take you to these different places. This is www.quickbooksblog.info. And when you get here, you're going to see all these different files, okay? And you're going to need to download these. For each chapter, as you work through it, it's going to ask you to print to Excel some reports from QuickBooks, right? So as you're working through, for example, it'll ask you to prepare a profit and loss statement or a balance sheet, statement of cash flows, things like that. Well, within QuickBooks, you can export that to Excel, okay? And what you're going to do, you're going to use these templates, and once you have one of those templates open, you're going to go on and copy and paste or export your report, your profit and loss statement, into that Excel spreadsheet, and that's what you're going to turn in. So the reports, those are the things that you're going to export from Excel typically, and then the documents, you see there's another Excel spreadsheet here. This is where you can kind of when you have some things you're not able to actually do the export to Excel feature with, and this is just a place for you to do print screens and things like that for some of the other reports. And like I said, your book walks you through all the steps as to how to do that, so I'm not going to go over it right now. Appendix D in the back is where you'll find the information with respect to that. Okay, so let's take a look here at just kind of what, let's see here, Chapter 1. Okay, so this is what the report would look like, that report template that I was telling you about. Well, the first thing you'll notice when you open it, there are directions right here to walk you through everything. Okay? Then as you work your way through here, you'll see trial balance. For example, for the first problem here, it asks you to create the trial balance in QuickBooks and export it to Excel. So when you're done, you should have something that looks kind of like this, okay? And on, different things, balance sheet, things of that nature. Okay, so that's kind of what you should be expecting to see when you're working with the software and the Excel templates. let's go back to the class. Okay, so of course we're going to be using Moodle for this course. And this is what your book looks like. Like I said, make sure you go to the syllabus. This will give you, it'll tell you what the due dates are for each of these. Okay, so each week we're going to have a different, what we would refer to as module, right? And with each module, you're going to cover either a chapter, or maybe we'll cover a long chapter, one module, and then the next module we'll do a case from that chapter, something like that. Okay, so I just kind of wrote a little thing here welcoming you to class. For this first week, please note that all of the work is going to be due on August 29th, 2012. Okay, so here it is, Chapter 1 Instructions, Getting Started. Click on me. So if you click on that, that'll take you to where you need to be, right? Let's just click on it. Now, sorry, this is kind of long-winded, but there's a whole lot in the first chapter with respect to you just figuring out what you need to do and how you need to do it and to get things set up properly. After that, it's going to take you a little while to get things going this first week, but that's okay. It's a long week, right? So it'll give you time to get everything straightened out, and then going forward, it'll all be second nature to you. You'll know exactly what you need to do. Okay, let's see what else we have here for this first week. Okay, it's very important that you guys make sure you do this 10% quiz. And this quiz here, it's nothing challenging. Really, it's just basically you answering a quiz, and your answers state that you're capable of doing what's necessary to succeed in this online class. There's an icebreaker discussion. Just kind of want you to introduce yourself to the class. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us if you have any experience with QuickBooks, things like that. Okay, I also have another copy to that link to that webpage where we were to get those Excel templates. We have PowerPoint for the class. Now, after you actually, once you read through it says Chapter 1's instructions and getting started, once you've read through that, this is where you'll actually submit your work down here. Okay, there's a couple other various links here that you might find helpful. Let's see what they are. Okay, just QuickBooks Help, QuickBooks Support, Community, things like that. So if you have a question, you can typically get that answered. You know, I'm always here to answer any question that you have. But it's also good to know that you know, later on down the road that you can find the answers there as well. And heck, a lot of times you can just Google your question, and it's pretty easy to find the answer. Okay. And one thing I didn't click on yet was this. It says videos to take you through the entire book. Print this out and keep with you as a guide. So let's click on this and see what it looks like. Okay, so within QuickBooks, there are tons of videos, instructional videos that show you how to accomplish different things. And you just need to know where to locate them. Okay, so like I said, you might want to print this thing out. So right when you first open, there's this Quick Start Center. And if you click on that, down here at the bottom it says Learning Center Tutorials. Okay, there are a whole lot of videos in here. There's also a couple videos. It's kind of hard to see. I know it's kind of small and fuzzy, but it's supposed to look like a video camera. So there's video. This one is to how to learn how to charge customers for money they owe you. There's a ton of little videos. And this one here, it says see how to get around QuickBooks. Well, this covers what we're covering in Chapter 1. Okay, if you were to click on the Learning Center Tutorials, you'll see that there's a lot of other videos. Well, the first couple videos are what we're going to cover in Chapter 2, and the next ones are what we're going to cover in Chapter 3. So on and on and on. So the videos are already within the QuickBooks software, and they show you exactly how to do it, and really, really good put together nicely videos. So make sure you check those out. And it goes on and on and on through the entire course. Okay? Let me get back to where I was. 1 second. Okay, so this first week is a little peculiar in the sense that there's all sorts of things like the icebreaker discussion and the 10% quiz and all that. All that stuff's due on the 29th of August. Let's take a look at the second chapter and what things will look like. So Chapter 2, this is kind of a typical week. Customizing QuickBooks and the chart of accounts. Okay, so Module 2 instructions and work submission. So if you click on this link, it'll tell you what you need to do, and you can also submit your work to me right there. PowerPoints for this chapter, right? Sometimes those are helpful to people, and they're there for you for each chapter to take advantage of. Once again, I have the link to show you where to find the video for each chapter. And here's just a little something else I threw in there. How to avoid the top mistakes made by most new QuickBooks users. Okay, this link also shows you tips for a smooth start. So make sure you check that out. And it's going to be hopefully a fun and educational class. I think you'll be excited to see how cool QuickBooks is. And this software package is used by so many small businesses. It's really going to be good for you to learn how to use it. So once again, I hope you have fun in this class. I'm Mr. Harris. If you have any questions, call, swing by the office, shoot me an email. I'm here to help, and I look forward to having you in class. Thank you.